Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Wally,
I'm Jason.
and we're continuing our dive into the ACS. Again, we are talking about, for reference, we're using the Private Pilot ACS. We're on Area of Operation 1, Task D, which is, what is the official name of that?
Cross-country flight planning.
Cross-country
Flight planning.
Cross-country flight planning. We're going to talk about what we look for as examiners, and we're going to talk about maybe some good techniques for CFIs to maybe teach cross-country flight planning. Jason, how do you handle the cross-country flight planning portion of the oral?
So I'll do the bulk of the oral. We'll take a break and then we'll come back. I like to do the cross-country tagged with. It's easy. It's a cross-country weather and then airspace. It kind of morphs all into one. So as simple as it sounds, as funny as it sounds, or not, that's only about 20, maybe 30 minutes of the oral.
Right.
So I get it. You guys spend a lot of time, most likely, flight planning the cross-country, and we'll give you specific cross-countries kind of on purpose. There's a method to the madness there. Because just looking at your flight planning, a lot of questions are already answered without me having to ask you questions.
Right.
That's especially true in the IFR realm. But real tangent back to what Wally said about for you CFIs out there, obviously you're going to have to teach cross countries. You're going to have to show them how to do it. But I tell a lot of CFIs, you're going to want to fix things. Yeah. Wait for that awkward silence. In the sense of let your student mess up, let your student flounder, right? Don't do it for them. Don't jump in and fix the situation. If you ask a question on a cross country, what's this or why this, wait for the answer. Don't finish it because you're getting impatient.
Right.
And you're going to find that some people absorbed it and some people learned it and some people haven't. And by you completing their sentences, that's not going to happen in a check ride. It's going to be that awkward silence because we're not going to do it.
Yeah, I find that if I could say one of the areas that we could do a much better job is teaching decision making. And the way you got to, I think the way you teach decision making is you have to let your student make decisions, and even if they're wrong.
That's called experience.
Yeah, and
let them mess up.
Right. Now, the
in a controlled environment.
Exactly. The other side of that is okay. Let's fly at 22 knots today and see what happens in the airplane. Probably not going to work out really well. So, but you've got to let your students make a decision, and make a wrong decision.
Mm-hmm. And it'll everything's a stepping stone. It'll help going forward. So
we don't, Jason and I, we don't script these. We're just two guys talking, okay? And what's interesting is the way you handle the cross country portion of the oral is totally different from the way I handle it. Basically, my whole oral is based around this cross country. So one of the first things I will do is jump in. Okay, I gave you a cross country from Houston, Texas, and in our case Conroe, Texas, to maybe El Paso, Texas, and I'll say, are we making a fuel stop? Where's the fuel stop? Why did you pick this as a fuel stop? And there's a million correct answers as to why you picked the fuel stop. Maybe the reason is my grandmother lives there and she makes really great chicken and dumplings and we can have that for lunch. That's a great reason. And so to me, cross-country planning or cross-country flying is probably why we're into this thing. Most people don't say, hey, I want to go get my private pilot certificate so I can go out and every Saturday go out and do stalls.
Come on.
Probably at some point they'd say, yeah, I'd like to take my family fly my family over to San Antonio for the weekend, or I'd love to fly up to Oshkosh or wherever you want to go places.
So that's I would say that's the purpose of learning how to fly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's it, you train, stall, slow flights, deep turns, power off 180s, engine outs, blah blah blah.
Right.
You get your license, and if that's your goal, that's your goal. But you don't do that going somewhere for lunch. It's point A to point B.
Right.
So that's another good point. If you think you're students, or if you are a student and it's kind of getting monotonous, go do your $100 hamburger. Go find somewhere. Go do something
Right.
with a purpose, and go get that vigor back of why you started this in the first place. It's not all about the training. Like it's cool that we can hop in an airplane and go somewhere for lunch.
Many years ago, remember the show Tiger King?
Yes.
Okay,
Did he get busted?
He did.
Yeah, there you go.
I think he's in jail still. I had an applicant, and I forget the name of the town in Oklahoma where that place took place, but I had an applicant, and one of his cross countries was up there, and I said, what in the world were you going there for? And he kind of started laughing, and he said, well, you know the show Tiger King? I go, yeah, I know the show Tiger King. Well, I went up there and went to the ranch or whatever it was. I go, well, that's really cool. So, a mission. He flew a mission.
Well, so if you're around the Houston area, Lufkin, little cafe at the airport, best hamburgers in the entire state of Texas. And then is it Llano that has
They have the barbecue.
The barbecue.
Yeah,
Black's
barbecue.
You can take the barbecue tour.
Yeah.
But Llano is a huge hit. I think they have 3 or 4 old Crown Vics as crew cars.
Yeah.
And it's first come, first serve, but it's go make a mission out of it. That's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
But we digress.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the cross-country flight planning. So if let's turn into CFIs for a second. If you were to teach a student how to do a cross-country, and let's be realistic here. Most of us are using an EFB. I had one person a couple weeks
paper
come with paper, and I was shocked because
I like paper.
Yeah,
but it's the 4 flights so easy.
Yeah. So what do? Do you just put in Conroe to Baton Rouge and draw a line and boom, you're done, or what do you do, Jason?
Some people do. That's not. It's what you do in real life and what you do on a check ride. You need to know what you're doing in real life. So that's play how you practice. If you go Houston, Baton Rouge, one long leg, what is that? 200 miles?
Probably about 200.
Does it accomplish that? Real quick, I think it's actually more because it satisfies that straight line distance for IM. I think it's over 250. Anyway, I do it. I'll plan A to B, and then I'll look at the route, and then I will simply on 4Flight. This is me. I will move my route over airports or VORs, specifically over those points,
right.
And that is my route of flight.
Right.
If I had to pick Baton Rouge, that's due east of Houston, pretty much along I-10, I would probably go Conroe, Cleveland, Beaumont, Lake Charles, Lafayette, Baton Rouge.
Yeah.
I would probably piecemeal it that way.
Yeah.
Over airports, if there's a problem, you're 20, 30 minutes away from a landing, maybe less than that.
Yeah.
That's how I plan it. What I see a lot of the times, they'll do a route and it'll be a straight line, which is fine. Or they'll curve the line, they'll move the line, but they won't go to airports or VORs. Hear me out for a second, they'll go next to the airport or next to the VOR,
right.
Which in 4Flight creates a Latin long.
Yes.
So you have this 500-mile journey with 55 Latin longs.
Yeah.
It's slight course shifts. So my question would be, how do you possibly put that in 4Flight? Or sorry, not in 4Flight, my bad. How do you put that into your GPS?
Right.
And the answer is you can't.
Yeah.
So if you're a beam an airport, just pick the airport. If you're a beam the VOR, just pick the VOR.
Yeah.
Take me to a VOR,
right.
Not take me a beam of VOR.
Right.
So by choosing the points correctly, it actually makes your flight planning a little simpler, and it makes it much, much simpler to put in the GPS.
Right.
Right.
So, and this is the way, God, we've gotten a few negative comments saying to us, well, we don't care how you do it at the airline. We're not at the airline yet, but I'm going to use maybe an airline reference. At the airline, we think of fuel not in gallons or pounds. We think of fuel in minutes. How much fuel do we have on board the airplane? We've got 4 hours and 54 minutes worth of fuel. How much fuel are we going to land with? We're going to land with
minimum of 75.
Right, minimum of 75 minutes, which is an hour 15. We're supposed to land with an hour 31 in fuel. And again, we think of it in minutes. So if we have these checkpoints, let's take a flight to Baton Rouge. Let's say a 250-mile flight is going to take us about 2 hours and 30 minutes. Okay, most of us are flying in 100-knot airplanes. 2 hours and 30 minutes. If we have a checkpoint about, we'll say every 10 minutes, if at the first checkpoint we're 2 minutes late, we know now we're landing with 2 minutes less fuel. And if we already knew that we were only landing with 40 minutes worth of fuel, well, now we're landing with 38 minutes. If now at the next checkpoint we are another 2 minutes down, so cumulatively we are now 4 minutes down, we are now landing with 36 minutes worth of fuel. We're trending the wrong way.
And if that keeps up,
we've got a problem.
Now, that's if you flight planned it with your bare minimum.
Right.
So I'll say that Houston, Baton Rouge is 250 miles. Most of these airplanes are 4 and 5 hours. Okay, fine, you go over on time a little bit, not the end of the world.
Right.
But when you start stretching your legs on these longer flight plans and you're actually going, here I have exactly fuel to destination plus 30 minutes. The second you start eating that 30 minutes, what are you going to do? You may not even make your destination.
Right.
So picking airports, if able, I get it, not all of it exists like that, but picking that maybe halfway is maybe a good spot to, well, we're trending the wrong direction.
Right.
Let's get on the ground and get some gas.
Right. Right. And now, when we start out, a lot of times now, as an examiner, we're going to go back to examiner mode for just a second. As an examiner, we are supposed to, for the cross-country phase of the flight, where we're actually going to go in and we're flying the cross-country, we're supposed to evaluate the applicant's ability to get to checkpoints with an S. So we have to, that means more than one, minimum of 2. If your checkpoints are 40 or 50 miles apart, that's 80, 100 miles.
That's a long ride.
We're an hour into the Checkride, and we haven't. All we've accomplished is really the cross-country phase, because in the middle of that, we can't say, hey, let's stop and do steep turns, because that's going to, guess what, mess up all your timing. So when you start out, you're the first few checkpoints, you want to be close. I would say 7, 8, 10 miles max apart.
And something that now we're going back to, what do you pick for checkpoints?
Right.
You can't pick, the Sonic. I guess in theory you could, but my debate would be the Sonic is not on the sectional. So how would you possibly know?
Right.
Well, it's Sonic. Well, that's not what the sectional says.
Right.
So how do you pick checkpoints?
Yeah.
What's a good checkpoint to you?
Well, a good checkpoint to me is something that's, first of all, it's not a road. An intersection of a road where 2 roads meet, because we're looking for checkpoints for 2 things. We're looking to check our time, which equates to the fuel. That goes back to the fuel thing. But we're also trying to make sure we got the airplane pointed in the right direction. We are on course. We are going the right way. So A lot of people will say, well, crossing the railroad tracks. Well, we could be 30 degrees off, and if we're going east
over
and
a
west,
railroad track.
if we're going east and west, the railroad track goes north and south, or a highway, or maybe a river.
That's where X marks the spot.
Right.
Not one line, 2 lines.
Yeah. So you want checkpoints that are specific points. Maybe the airports are really good checkpoints, and I say big airports, and when I say big airports, maybe a paved airport.
Little private grass strips.
Private grass strips are hard to
There's
find.
one to the west, and I know exactly where it is. I can drive to it, but it is really hard to see from the air.
Right.
Very, very hard to see.
Yeah, and if you've been doing it a long time, you can probably pick them out. But I would be very careful to pick grass strips or private airports as your checkpoints, unless you fix. If it's Uncle Bob's and you know where Uncle Bob's place is and it's on the section.
Well, and that's just it. So if it's local and you know where it is because you see it and you train there that's one thing.
Yes.
But you're going to these cities that you've never been to. Don't do that because you're simply not going to see it.
Right. Towers, they don't make the greatest because, boy, they are hard to find.
Big towers next to a road, maybe.
Right.
That's one thing, but just the small towers, not the ones with the high intensity, not the big ones, but the small ones. Those are a dime a dozen.
Right.
That would be, I think you could be off on that. Lakes are good.
Yes.
Lakes are huge. Ponds, depending the size. Maybe a pond next to a little city. Maybe a pond next to a power line or a railroad. Right. Start thinking in that kind of dimension, I would say.
I had I'm going to go off on a tangent a little bit, but I was a brand new DPE many years ago, and a gentleman picked VOR as a checkpoint, and we're flying out there, and he had no idea how to use his VOR. This was not looking well, and we happened to fly right over the VOR, and he said, "Okay, we're at the VOR," and I'm looking at his instrumentation, and he doesn't have it set up anywhere close. And I said, "How do you know we're at the VOR?" And he says, "Well, I looked out and I saw it on the ground." And I kind of had to give it to him. I said, "Well,
that's the VOR."
All right, he got his checkpoint, but maybe not the way he had expected to do it.
So it's intersections, crossing roads, lakes. The one big lake out of here, Lake Livingston. There's a little island in the middle of the lake.
Right.
Excellent checkpoint.
Yes.
You totally know where that is. Tips of the lakes, fingers of the lakes. You can count the fingers. You can see that from 50, 100, 150 miles away. Those are huge, excellent visual checkpoints.
Yes.
It's things like this. So pick accordingly. Pick what is going to make your life easier.
Right.
Go back to the lat long. Go back to your points next to an airport, next to a VOR. That's how are you going to put that in the GPS? Now, I get it. Not all airplanes have GPSs. Fine. The checkpoints are still the same, right? But my point is, you have these G1000s. You have 530s do not take lat longs. 430s do not take lat longs. You cannot put that in there. So make it easier. Your route of flight, go back to the Baton Rouge, your route would be Conroe, Beaumont Airport, Lake Charles Airport, Lafayette Airport, Baton Rouge. That is a route of flight.
Right.
Your lat longs, that's your personal checkpoints. How do we, I guess we can skip to this, filing and activating a flight plan.
Before we do that, let me say one more thing. If you put this in ForeFlight, one of the waypoints, if you will, that ForeFlight is going to give you, it's going to give you top of climb. I ask all the time, I say, what's our first checkpoint? And they'll say top of climb. Top of climb is not a checkpoint, okay? Because we're going to get to top of climb, and there's no reference to on the ground as far as top of climb. We may get there it doesn't tell us, are we on course?
It's good to know situationally for airspace, especially if you're in layered airspace, Bravos and Charlies and things like that, so you don't bust airspace.
Right.
But yeah, you can't visually, unless it falls over a checkpoint.
Right.
Unless it falls over something defined. But top of climb in the middle of a field, I guess the point is you cannot define that.
Right. It doesn't really mean anything. And what you do with, I think, if you're going to use ForeFlight, and don't get me wrong, I use ForeFlight. Okay. If I make a cross country, I'm going to use ForeFlight, and I'm going to do just as Jason said. I'm going to go from airport to airport, and that's how I'm going to enter it in my 530 in the Saratoga. And we're just going to fly from airport to airport, basically. But I'm also going to hit the print button, and I'm going to have a paper backup. Okay, so I can write on that paper. We're -2 at the first checkpoint. We're 2 minutes late. Which, guess what? Again, remember that equates to fuel. We're now going to land with 2 minutes less fuel than we had expected. And if that trend keeps going and we're tight on fuel, maybe it's time to come up with a plan B.
We do that every single flight that's ETOPS at United. We have paper flight plans, and our ETE is ETE for the next checkpoint is logged. Your ETA when you actually get there is logged, and you track fuel on every single ETOPS flight.
And we call it scoring the fuel, and the monitoring pilot is the one who's usually taking care of the flight plan, and he'll probably say, okay, we just passed XYZ intersection, we are 2 minutes ahead, we're up 900 pounds on the fuel,
which is good.
Yeah,
and you can burn it once you're out. You can get home, make that flight home.
Right.
What else?
Let's get back to the activating the flight plan. With the ACS says simulate filing a VFR flight plan.
So this is what I've come across a lot lately is they'll do a flight plan.
Right.
They'll make it. They're on a flight plan. It's on a sheet of paper. They'll do a flight plan, and I said, okay, how are you going to file this flight plan? And so there's a reason that we give you typically longer flight plans. Like I won't give Houston Baton Rouge because it's too long. I will do it on purpose to force a fuel stop.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people do, they'll do one flight plan, all like Houston to whatever, Daytona Beach.
Right.
You can't do that in one. You probably can't do that in two, not in a 172. But they'll file it as one.
Right.
And they'll try to file that's an impossible task. You can't do that. So when it says file a flight plan, that's to your first fuel stop. That's segment one. Then if you have multiple segments, it's so on and so forth. So what is the purpose of you're creating a flight plan, but why are you going to file a flight plan? What does that even mean?
Yeah, you want to file a flight plan so that if you don't get there, you want help.
You want search and rescue. You want those Civil Air Patrol people to get activated and to come look for you. If you're in a military area, they will divert military resources to come and do search and rescue missions. There is a method to this madness. Am I going to file a flight plan to go 20 miles up the road? Probably not. But when I go long distances, if I don't go IFR, I'm going to file a VFR flight plan, and then I'm going to activate the VFR flight plan, which that is definitely in the ACS. So how do you file it? Most people say ForeFlight. You can call it in. That's 1-800-WEATHER-BRIEF. Who is Weather Brief?
Flight service.
That's flight service. How do you find flight service stations on a sectional? And if you're about to say, well, I'm going to tap on the little airport to pull up a submenu and do that, I can't fault you for doing that, but that's the true answer is go find VORs. Every single flight service station is attached to a VOR. Go find a VOR, just a VOR. Go find the frequency box, and on the top of the box, it's going to have 122.2, 122.1, 122.2R. and below the box is the name of the flight service station. CFIs, get your students to call flight service up. They are dying to talk to you. But you simply call up flight service, tell them who you are, where you are, and what you want. There's a method on how to talk to them. But that's the purpose of that. So an examiner told me a long time ago, and no, I'm not going to have you activate a flight plan on a Checkride, but I'm going to ask you about it. And so the point is, you file A to B, and then you open your flight plan. And you told your mom you're going to meet her at ABC Airport for dinner. Well, you told your mom you're going to be there at 5 p.m. Well, it's 5, it's 5:30. Your mom's there waiting, looking for you, and nothing. Well, where are you? Unfortunately, something happened well short of getting to your destination, and now your mom calls the police, and the police are going to say, well, it hasn't been long enough to file a missing persons report. This is all a little bit facetious, but the takeaway is, if you open a flight plan and you don't close a flight plan with flight service station, they give you 30 minutes. 30 minutes. If they don't hear from you, they're going to try to contact you. That's why your name and phone number is on the flight plan. Then they're going to look at your destination. That's why there's a destination contact on the flight plan. Maybe the FBO you're going to. Maybe it is you put your mom. That's fine. They're going to call your mom. Hey, did Jason arrive? No, he said 5 o'clock. It's 5:45. I'm starting to freak out. The next phone call is to most likely center or ATC or approach departure, whoever maybe was along your route. And then if after that, it's very quick of their Civil Air Patrol, they'll reroute military aircraft to go search for wreckage along your route of flight. Yeah. It's important. That's what it's there for. So all these applicants, they're doing these flight plans, and they're doing it physically on the paper, and they're doing it in their foreflight, but they don't realize what the purpose, what the real takeaway is.
And you could file a flight plan from Houston to Daytona Beach and say you're going to get there 16 hours from now. You could, but the whole purpose of it is to activate emergency services if you don't make it. So if you crash short of your first fuel stop, that's still 8 hours from now. That you plan to be at Daytona Beach. So,
it's a good point. You could. There's nothing to say you can't.
Yeah.
Right. If you plan it, but my takeaway is if you use ForeFlight, your airplane holds 5 hours of gas, and you go try to file a 16-hour flight plan, ForeFlight won't even let you.
Right.
You don't have don't have enough. B don't have, it'll tell you don't have the reserves either.
Right.
So there's methods to madness.
Yeah.
So what else? I think that's points of how to pick and why.
Yeah. And again, a lot of, if you're going to use that electronic flight bag, which again, 99% of us are going to use, you need to have a backup. If you're using ForeFlight, I believe ForeFlight lets you have it on 2 devices plus a phone. Mm-hmm. So really,
two iPads, one phone, or one iPad, 2. No, it's 2 iPads, 1 phone.
Is it? Okay. So you need to have a second, at least a second electronic device. I know a lot of people use their phones, and which it works. It's kind of tough, when you got the old eyes.
I can't see my phone. I need my iPad. But I can't see that phone anymore.
A lot of people use just their phone, but if you're going to use just your phone, you need to have a iPad backup or something.
Moreover, you have an iPad mount, and it's 120 degrees in Houston. That iPad is going to overheat.
Yeah.
You're going to want a backup. So it's little things kind of like that. So just think ahead a little bit.
Yeah.
What else?
Let's see.
Elements, procedures, filing, in-flight intercept procedures. All right, you don't pay attention and you go and I'm not going to say bust airspace, but let's say you go into a restricted area. You didn't pay attention because you didn't bother to look if it was active or not. And so now there's an F-16 or, an F-18 off your wing. What do? My advice would be have your intercept procedures maybe as a document
Yes.
in the airplane
Yes.
or on your foreflight so you can reference what exactly to do.
Absolutely.
When they start rocking their wings, what frequency do they expect you to go to?
Yeah.
That's going to be 21.5. That's the given. That's guard, right? Another one on that as a document I would probably keep in your foreflight is light gun signals.
Yeah.
You never ever know. We practice radio failures commonly for the IFR check ride.
Right.
Radios, I would say, are pretty reliable, but when they're not and you're going in, and it's VFR especially, you're going to want light gun signals.
Yeah.
Procedures for doing that, I would say have that as a reference also.
And most people have knee boards, and it's probably printed on the knee board.
I have it. And that's cockpit organization.
Yeah.
When I fly little airplanes, I have a knee board, and I have all my stuff where I need it to be.
Yeah.
Because when you think it's not going to happen, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
And I probably don't have the light gun signals memorized, but
So,
I can get to them.
Red is bad, green is good.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna reference everything else. Yes, I know what they are, but have a good backup because we don't use them every day.
Right. Right.
So,
Have you ever used them?
like I
For
said,
real?
No, I've had a couple when I was teaching. I had a couple students that were colorblind.
Yeah.
So we did practice light gun signals so they
Yeah.
could actually see what so I could verify it with them. Like
And
that's not purple, it's green.
Yeah, and CFI is a great thing to do. I used to do this, ask the tower, hey, can you shoot us some light gun signals? Just so that your student can see what they're going to see.
Yeah, and so that I would. I mean, it's there, and I'm speculating at this point. I think the tower, they have to do it anyway to have practice to keep it current on their list type thing. So if it's quiet in a tower at airport one day, ask.
Right.
Even call from the FBO, call from your school, and they'll just do them straight. You don't have to be in the air.
Yeah.
Just keep them on the phone and do it that way.
And the other thing is, all this is, if you dig in the regulation, it doesn't say radio failure, it says communication failure. So if your radios fail and you can call the tower on your phone, maybe you got a Bluetooth headset or whatever, you can talk to them on your phone. Guess what? You don't have communication failure anymore. You have communication, so you're good. You don't have to worry about those light gun signals.
That depends on what carrier you use.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
All right.
All right.
Risk, down to risk.
Let's see, what do we got here? A lot of this we talked about in the first couple
That's
episodes.
the PAVE.
PAVE, external pressures, all that kind of stuff. I will say this. And I mentioned this, I think, on a previous episode. I used to, when I would plan across country, I would look for low fuel prices, and we kind of got caught going to Oshkosh. We picked a place that had low fuel prices, and we got there, and
Was it broken?
No fuel.
Ah.
They're out of fuel.
Oh, out of fuel. There you go.
So now we had to hop back in the airplane and fly 30 miles to a little bit bigger airport and pay more expensive. It cost us probably an hour of our flight time.
So go back to the whole planning of reserves. That's a big factor.
Yes.
You plan these long cross countries, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to be on fumes or the bare minimum, and you land, and there's no gas.
Yeah.
So that's all pre-flight planning. Also, maybe call ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
Call. Is it working? Is it operating? You never know if they can't get a NOTAM out.
Yeah.
Like that's flight planning.
And we were trying to save 20 cents a gallon, which sounds like a lot, and then you figure we were going to need about 60 gallons. That's $12 we were going to save. It probably ended up costing us $100 to fly to this other airport out of the way and get fuel.
So maybe we're getting up there. Maybe we'll close with this. All right. picking a route for a cross country, there is no right or wrong. You just have to have a reason why you're doing it.
Right.
Mom's chicken and dumplings in the middle of nowhere. Fine. I don't care. You just have to have a reason. I always give the example, if and when we ever drive on a road trip, and this is for people really that live in Texas, they'll know what I'm talking about. I don't care if it's in the way or out of the way.
We're going to Buc-ee's.
Due to kids,
All right.
we have to go to Buc-ee's. It's a given. So that might be 30 minutes out of the way. We're going, that is my reason. I got to go get my sandwich. I got to go get my, what is it? We always get the trail mix stuff. Anyway, it's a flipping gas station, but it's Buc-ee's. So you have to go. But that's my point. So if I ask Wally, from Conroe, drive me to Baton Rouge, go. How are you going to go? Top of your head. Don't say plug it. You're going to go all the way south to go to 10.
Yeah.
See? Fine. I think that's ridiculous.
Well, no, actually, I'm going to take 1960 over to Beaumont and hit 10 over there.
That's a more efficient route.
Yeah.
So, but that's my point, right? There's no right or wrong. You just have to explain as to why you're doing it.
Right.
But in my Buc-ee's example, that's the best example. If we're going to San Antonio, yeah, I could go down to 10 and hang a right, or we can cut over to Waller, but it's a little bit of a backtrack to go to Buc-ee's, but we got to go to Buc-ee's.
Right.
So that's kind of the takeaway. If it's however you want to fly, just think about it and think of good visual waypoints. When you're at 4,000 and 5,000 feet, that's another thing. Do you really think you're going to see that itty-bitty tower in the middle of a forest?
No.
The answer is no.
No.
But can you see the two huge lakes that connect? There's Lake Conroe, Livingston, Sam Rayburn. That basically takes you to anywhere in Louisiana you want to go.
Right.
And all you do is connect the lakes, and you just went 150 miles on 3 huge points.
Yeah.
So think on a bigger scale. When you're higher, think of what you can and can't see from the air. What else?
I think that's about it.
Cool.
All right, so do us a favor, hit subscribe down there, hit like, or whatever you do. Tell your friends about us. Come back. If you want to give us a show suggestion.
Yeah, email. Let us know. Let's answer questions.
Yeah, Wally at checkridechat.com or Jason at checkridechat.com. You can
But email Wally.
Yeah, you see it up on the screen. And if we use your show idea, we're going to send you one of these really nice Checkride Chat coffee mugs. But again, tell your friends about us. And next time we're going to come back. I don't know what we're going to do next time. We don't. This isn't severely scripted, but we're going to continue our dive into the ACS. We've got airspace to talk about. We got performance. We got aircraft systems, and I think that will. Maybe
Let's close with this. Here's a quick poll. We're going to do the ACS. That's a given. We're going to talk about the ACS. Would you like to see us discuss, and teach certain things, whether that be airspace, systems, anything? Let us know if you want us to do that. If you're interested in seeing that, also.
We're here for you, and we want to make this better for the viewer. So with that in mind, we'll see you next time. Bye.
See y'all.